am going to do my very last video on The Chosen, which is a fabulous series on the life and times of Jesus and his followers. And it's a work in progress. They've done 2 seasons. They're almost done with a 3rd. And if you haven't gotten it yet, it's a free download. It's amazing. I can't say enough good about it. It's life-changing. But what I want to talk about today is Simon the Zealot. And before I get into it, if you're new to this channel and you enjoy these videos, please go to my YouTube channel, Straight Talk on Scripture, and hit the red subscribe button, tap the bell, and every time I drop a new video, which is several times a week, you'll be notified. I have an interesting word I want to give you. It's parabellum, and it's a Latin word, and it means prepare for war. And there's a saying that if you would have peace, prepare for war. And it's interesting because through the years, what we've seen is that the countries that are left in peace have a strong military. And that's the way it's always been, that if you want peace, you've got to be strong enough to enforce it. Which brings me to Simon the Zealot. Simon was a Jewish man, and what happened is somewhere along his life, he became a zealot. And the zealots in the time of Jesus believed that the only solution to the Romans kind of invading their territory was to violently thrust them out by any means possible. Killing them, all kinds of things, all kinds of violence. The zealots were about violence, and they believed it was justified because the Romans didn't belong in Israel, and they felt justified in any type of violence. So Simon, who eventually became a follower of Jesus, was a zealot who believed in the way of the sword, that the answers to the problems the Jews had was violence. Now, I want to make this a clear statement. I don't believe that there is never a time for violence. I believe that sometimes in order to be left in peace, you have to be strong enough to cause people to leave you alone. And sometimes the only way to do that is through violence. But let's talk about the way of Jesus, because as Simon and Jesus start to get to know each other, a really funny scene happens where Simon the Zealot he's not a follower of Jesus yet, but he's starting to see that Jesus is the way and that his former way is not the way. So what happens is they're walking by the water, and Jesus says to Simon, "Oh, is that your secret knife?" Because the zealots, when they became a zealot, all got these really fancy knives to show that they were zealots. So Jesus says to Simon, "Can I see your knife?" And Simon hands it over, and Jesus goes, "Wow, that's really something." And with that, he just flicks it and throws it in the water. And then he looks at Simon and he says, "I bet you didn't see that one coming." And this is what I want to say. It's not that there's never a place for war to defend yourself through violence. But I believe that the people that are called to follow Jesus the closest are those that are going to wage a spiritual war, and that the path we walk is a path of love. It's a path of mercy. It's a path of forgiveness and compassion. Now, what Simon learned was that the way of the sword, or the way of violent overthrow, was not the path he was going to take. that he was going to become a follower of Jesus, and he was going to follow a different path, the path of love. Now, this is what I want to say to all of you out there. I realize some of you listening may be thinking violence is the only way. And what I would say to you is be very careful about that. Be very careful about making a decision that the final solution to anything is violence. Because Jesus said that you'll always reap what you sow. He said something very interesting. He said, those of you who live by the sword will die by the sword. And he also, it was inferred that those who live by the gospel will die by the gospel. And this is something I want to put out there. This is a very serious thing. Most of us are not wired to take a human life. We're hardwired by God to not do that. And so most of us are not really created for that type of thing. And so before you say that violence is the only solution, realize that very few people are wired by God to take up the sword. I'm not saying that nobody is, but very few people are. Most of us who follow Jesus are hardwired to love and spread the love of Jesus. And so think carefully about how you want to solve the problems that face us. Do you think you really need to take up the sword? Or is there a better way? The way of love, the way of praying for your enemy, the way of forgiveness. Because I believe most of us are created by Jesus to love our enemy and follow the path of love. Well, just something to think about. You see, Simon the Zealot became Simon the disciple, and he eventually died by the gospel rather than the sword. Well, this is Pastor Rick. This is my last message on The Chosen, and it's a message of love, and I hope you'll consider it. Remember, with Jesus, there's always hope, there's always love. God bless you. Hi, I'm Pastor Rick, and the sponsor of this week's video is Mike the Painter. The fall season is definitely upon us, and it's a season of getting things in order. And one of the things that is a great thing to do in the fall season is maybe redecorate that room that you've been looking to change the color of, or spruce up, or maybe paint the outside of your house. Fall is a great time for that. And one of the best painters I can recommend is Mike the Painter. Give him a call for a free estimate today. You won't be disappointed.